The council chamber was the most beautiful place in the known galaxy. It floated in space between 3 stars. Crystal walls showed the endless darkness outside. Inside, representatives from 47 different species sat in their special chairs. Each chair was made for their unique body shape. Today they were meeting to discuss a problem. The problem was humans. Ambassador Chen sat in the human chair. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had been talking for 3 hours. Nobody was listening anymore. The Velcrin Emperor stood up. He was tall, with blue skin and 4 arms. His species had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. He looked at Ambassador Chen like she was a bug. "Ambassador Chen," he said. His voice was cold. "We have heard enough. Humans have taken 12 colony worlds in regulated space. This is not acceptable. You will return those worlds. You will join the council as junior members, or we will make you." Chen stood up slowly. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear. She was angry. "Regulated space?" she said. "Those worlds were empty. No one lived there. We found them. We built homes there. We raised children there." The Emperor waved one hand. The other 3 hands stayed folded. It was a gesture of dismissal. "Those worlds were reserved," he said, "for future use. The council decides who can settle where. You did not ask permission. You are newcomers. You must follow the rules." Chen looked around the chamber. 47 species. Not one looked friendly. They all thought the same thing. Humans were young. Humans were weak. Humans would obey. "Let me tell you about human history," Chen said quietly. "My species has fought wars for thousands of years. We fought over food. We fought over land. We fought over ideas. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times." The Emperor laughed. "It sounded like breaking glass. That is why you need us," he said. "To civilize you. We have rules for war. No attacking civilians. No destroying infrastructure. When casualties reach 15%, the losing side surrenders. Everyone goes home. Very simple. Very civilized." Chen smiled. It was not a nice smile. "We learned different lessons from our wars," she said. "We learned that sometimes surrender is worse than death. We learned that when someone threatens your home, you fight with everything you have. We learned that if you cannot win, you make sure the enemy cannot win either." The council representatives looked at each other. They did not understand. The Emperor made a gesture. His chief military advisor came forward. She was Velcrin too, wearing a uniform covered in medals. "We will send a fleet to your colony of New Perth," the advisor said. "It is your newest settlement. Only 50,000 people live there. They will surrender. You will understand that resistance is useless." Chen closed her eyes for a moment. She thought about New Perth, beautiful green fields, children playing in the streets. Her niece lived there. "If you attack New Perth," she said, "you will regret it." The Emperor laughed again. "Is that a threat? Your entire species has maybe 200 warships. We have 10,000. This will be over quickly." Chen picked up her documents. She walked toward the door. "I need to send a message," she said, "to New Perth." 3 days later, the Velcrin fleet arrived at New Perth. 300 ships, enough to conquer 20 worlds. Admiral Korvax commanded the fleet. He was confident. He had fought in 12 wars. His species had never lost. As they approached the planet, sensors showed something strange. The cities were empty. No lights, no heat signatures, no people. "They evacuated?" Korvax said. "Good, makes our job easier. Land the troops. Take the infrastructure intact. We can sell it." His communication officer raised one hand. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the planet's surface." "Put it on screen," Korvax said. A human face appeared. A young man, maybe 25 years old. He wore civilian clothes. Behind him they could see what looked like a bunker. "I am Michael Chen," the man said. "Governor of New Perth. You have come to take our world. I have a message for you." He held up a small device. It had a red button. "We spent the last 3 days preparing," Michael said. "Every building in every city has explosives. Every mine, every factory, every farm. We buried nuclear devices in the tectonic fault lines. We poisoned the water. We burned the fields. We destroyed everything of value." Admiral Korvax stared at the screen. "You are bluffing," he said. "You would not destroy your own world." Michael smiled. It was the same smile Ambassador Chen had used. "This is not our world anymore," he said. "You want it so badly? You can have it. All the broken pieces." He pressed the button. The planet exploded, not all at once. First, the nuclear devices in the fault lines detonated. The ground split open. Lava erupted. Then the cities exploded. Thousands of charges going off in sequence. The atmosphere caught fire. The Velcrin fleet was too close. Debris hit the ships like bullets, metal fragments traveling at incredible speed. 100 ships died in the first minute. Another 50 in the second. Admiral Korvax watched his fleet die. His ship shook from impacts. Alarms screamed. Crew members shouted. He could not speak. Could not think. These were not rational beings. They were monsters. What species destroys their own world? His ship survived. Barely. A third of his fleet was gone. The rest were damaged. And below where a green world had been, there was only fire and ash. A message came from Earth. It was broadcast to every species in the council. Ambassador Chen spoke. "This is the human reply to war," she said. Her voice was cold and empty. "You want our worlds? Come and take them. Come and take the ashes. Come and take the poison. Come and take the radioactive dust. We will give you nothing but ruins. We will give you nothing but death." She paused. "We do not fight wars to win territory," she said. "We fight wars to teach lessons. And our lesson is simple. Leave us alone, or we will burn everything." In the council chamber, no one spoke. They had started a war. They thought it would be easy. They thought wrong. The war had just begun, and the galaxy was about to learn what it meant to fight humans. The human reply to war: burn everything. The news from New Perth spread across the galaxy in hours. Every species heard the same story. Humans had destroyed their own world rather than surrender it. The images were terrifying. A beautiful green planet turned into a ball of fire and ash. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. The Emperor of the Velcrin stood before them. His 4 arms were shaking with rage. "They are insane," he shouted. "They killed their own people. They destroyed everything. What kind of monsters do this?" Ambassador Chen sat in her chair. She looked tired. She had not slept in 3 days. "No one died," she said quietly. "We evacuated everyone. 50,000 people. All safe, all alive. We only destroyed buildings and land." The Emperor turned to face her. His face was dark with anger. "You destroyed an entire planet. The resources, the infrastructure. It would have taken us decades to build all that." Chen stood up. Her voice was calm but hard. "Yes," she said. "That is the point. You came to steal what we built. We made sure there was nothing left to steal. You want to conquer us? Fine, but you will gain nothing. Every world you take will cost you more than it is worth." A delegate from the Thraxian species stood up. She was small and covered in purple fur. Her species believed in peace. "Surely we can find a peaceful solution," she said. "More violence will only lead to more suffering." Chen looked at her sadly. "I wish that were true," Chen said. "But your council demanded our surrender. You sent warships to our world. You gave us no choice but to fight." The Emperor made a gesture of dismissal. "Then we will declare full war," he said. "We will take all 12 of your colonies. We will blockade Earth. You will learn that defiance has consequences." Chen nodded slowly. "Very well," she said. "But remember this moment. Remember that you chose this. When you see what happens next, remember that we gave you every chance to stop." She walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the council began planning their war. On Earth, in a secret military facility deep underground, Admiral Sarah Okonkwo stood before a room full of officers. She was a tall woman with dark skin and gray hair. She had served in the military for 40 years. She had seen many wars. New Perth was just the beginning, she said. Her voice was strong and clear. "The council thinks we are weak. They think we will break. They are wrong." She pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed human space. 12 colony worlds marked in blue. Velcrin space in red. Hundreds of red worlds. "This is Doctrine Zero Sum," she said. "It is our new military strategy. The principle is simple. If we cannot win, no one wins. If we cannot have our worlds, no one gets anything." A young captain raised her hand. "Admiral, are you saying we should destroy all our colonies?" Okonkwo nodded. "Yes, every colony the enemy approaches will be evacuated and destroyed. But that is not all. We will also destroy their worlds. We will poison their water. We will burn their forests. We will contaminate their soil. They want total war. We will give them total destruction." The room was silent. Officers looked at each other with shocked expressions. Another officer spoke. He was older with many medals on his uniform. Admiral, with respect, this is madness. We are talking about destroying entire worlds, billions of civilians. Okonkwo turned to face him. Her expression was hard. We will evacuate civilians when possible, she said. We are not murderers. But if they refuse to evacuate, that is their choice. Our history has taught us one lesson. When someone tries to destroy you, you must be willing to destroy everything to survive. Sherman understood this. Truman understood this. Now we must understand it. She looked around the room. The enemy thinks war is a game, she said. They have rules, limits. They expect us to surrender when things get hard. But humans do not play by those rules. We fight until we win, or we make sure everyone loses. Over the next month, the pattern became clear. The Velkrin fleet moved to capture the human colony of New Harmony. When they arrived, the planet was empty. Every building was rigged with explosives. Every mine was collapsed. Every water source was poisoned. The planet detonated as they approached. They tried again at New Boston. Same result, empty cities. Total destruction. Nothing left but wasteland, then New Chicago, New Toronto, New Mumbai. World after world turned into ash and poison. The Velkrin military command could not understand it. Every war they had ever fought followed the same pattern. Two sides fought. One side lost. The losing side surrendered. Both sides went home. Resources and territory changed hands. Everyone knew the rules, but humans were different. They did not surrender. They destroyed everything. They followed no rules. Admiral Korvac sat in his command ship. He had aged 10 years and 2 months. His face was gaunt. His eyes were hollow. Another world destroyed, his second officer reported. New Berlin. Total loss. No survivors. No infrastructure. Nothing salvageable. Korvac closed his eyes. How many ships did we lose? He asked. 42, sir. The debris field was larger than expected. 42 ships. For nothing. Not even a single building captured. Just ruins and death. Korvac opened a communication channel to the Velkrin capital. Your Majesty, he said, we need to reconsider our strategy. Every world we take costs us more than we gain. We are losing ships, losing soldiers, gaining nothing. This is not a war. This is mutual destruction. The Emperor appeared on the screen. He looked angry. Are you suggesting we surrender? The Emperor demanded. I am suggesting we stop, Korvac said. Before this gets worse. Impossible. The Emperor shouted. We cannot show weakness. We must break them. Take their homeworld. Take Earth itself. Korvac felt cold fear in his chest. Your Majesty, he said slowly, if we attack Earth, they will defend it with everything they have. And if they lose, they will destroy it. They will detonate their entire planet rather than let us have it. The Emperor waved his hand dismissively. They are bluffing. No species would destroy their own homeworld. It is suicide. Korvac thought about New Perth, about New Harmony, about all the destroyed worlds. With respect, Your Majesty, he said, they are not bluffing. Meanwhile, human ships moved through space like ghosts. They did not fight major battles. They attacked supply lines. They destroyed fuel depots. They hit manufacturing facilities on undefended worlds. Every week, another Velkrin colony lost its power plant, or its water treatment facility, or its food storage. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that made the news. Just slow, steady destruction of the infrastructure that kept civilizations alive. The council members began to worry. This was not how wars worked. Wars were supposed to be clean, organized, limited. This was chaos. And slowly, quietly, other council members began to withdraw their support. The Thraxians pulled their ships back. Then the Zelnor. Then the Kraith. One by one, species decided this war was not worth the cost. The Velkrin Empire stood alone, and the humans were just getting started. The Velkrin people called them the Garden Worlds, 7 perfect planets scattered through their empire. Each one was a paradise. Blue skies, clean water, forests that stretched for thousands of miles. These were not just colonies. They were sacred places. The Velkrin had shaped these worlds over thousands of years. They had imported animals from 100 different planets. They had planted trees that took centuries to grow. Poets wrote about their beauty. Artists painted their landscapes. Children learned about them in school. On the third garden world, Velkara Prime, Lady Zirath walked through her family estate. She was old by Velcrin standards, nearly 400 years. She had lived on this world her entire life. Her great-great-grandchildren played in the garden behind her. The sky was perfect blue. The temperature was exactly comfortable. The flowers bloomed in colors that did not exist anywhere else in nature. She heard the news broadcast on her communication device. The war with humanity continues. Our forces have captured another human colony. As expected, the humans destroyed everything before retreating. Total casualties are minimal. Infrastructure damage is complete. Lady Zirath shook her head sadly. Such a waste. Such barbarism. The humans clearly did not understand civilization. That night, Lieutenant Marcus Webb sat in a small ship drifting in the darkness between stars. Around him were 19 other humans. They wore black armor. They carried no identification. Officially, they did not exist. Webb was 26 years old. He had grown up on New Perth. He remembered green fields and clean air. He remembered his little sister chasing butterflies. He remembered the day they evacuated, the day they destroyed their world. His sister was safe now, living on Earth, but his home was gone. Turned to ash and poison, Captain Rodriguez spoke quietly. Operation Ragnarok begins in 2 hours, she said. We are one of 30 teams. Each team targets a garden world. Our target is Velcara Prime. She pulled up a hologram. A beautiful planet, blue and green and perfect. This is not a military target, Rodriguez continued. There are no defenses, no soldiers, just civilians. But this world is important to them. It is cultural, sacred. Destroying it will hurt them more than losing 100 military bases. One of the soldiers raised his hand. Captain, are we evacuating the civilians first? Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. We will broadcast a warning, she said. We will give them 24 hours to evacuate. After that, we deploy the bioweapon. Anyone who stays will die with their world. The ship was silent. Every soldier understood what they were about to do. This was not defense. This was revenge. This was terror. But they also remembered their own worlds. They remembered watching their homes burn. They remembered the council demanding surrender. They remembered the Velcrin emperor laughing at their ambassador. Webb spoke quietly. They started this, he said. They came to our worlds. They demanded we give up everything we built. They chose war. The other soldiers nodded. They did not like what they were about to do. But they would do it anyway. 24 hours later, Lady Zirath received an emergency broadcast. A human face appeared on every screen on Velcara Prime. People of Velcara Prime, the human said. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Human Special Operations Command. You have 24 hours to evacuate this world. In one day, we will deploy a biological weapon designed specifically for Velcrin ecosystems. It will destroy all plant life. It will poison all water. It will make this world uninhabitable for 10,000 years. Lady Zirath stared at the screen in horror. This is not a military target, Rodriguez continued. We know that. But your emperor attacked our homes. He destroyed our worlds. Now you will know what that feels like. You have 24 hours. We recommend you evacuate. The screen went black. Chaos erupted across the planet. Some people did not believe it. Humans would not really do this. It was a bluff. Others began packing immediately. Panic spread through cities and towns. The Velcrin military sent ships. But they found nothing. The human strike teams were too small, too well hidden. They could not be detected until it was too late. 23 hours later, most of the population had evacuated. Millions fled to orbit, to other worlds, to anywhere that was not here, but some stayed. Lady Zirath stayed. She was too old to start over. This was her home. She had lived here for 400 years. She would die here if necessary. She sat in her garden and waited. At exactly the promised time, the bioweapon was deployed. Tiny machines, invisible to the naked eye. They spread through the atmosphere. They touched every leaf, every blade of grass, every drop of water. The effect was slow at first. Plants began to wilt. Water turned cloudy. The sky changed color slightly, then it accelerated. Within a week, every tree was dead. Every forest was gray and lifeless. The water was poison. The soil was contaminated. Animals died by the millions. Lady Zirath watched her garden die. The flowers turned brown. The grass became dust. The fish in her pond floated to the surface. She died 3 days later. Poison in the water, poison in the air. She was not alone. Thousands of Velcrin who refused to evacuate died with their world. And it was not just Velcara Prime. All 7 garden worlds received the same warning. All 7 garden worlds were destroyed. 30 teams, 7 targets. Total success. The Velcrin people watched their sacred worlds die. They saw images from orbit. Paradise turned to wasteland. Forests turned to dust. Oceans turned to poison. Lieutenant Webb was captured 2 weeks later. His ship malfunctioned during extraction. The Velcrin military found him. They brought him to an interrogation facility. Admiral Korvax himself came to question him. Why? Korvax asked. His voice was not angry, just tired, confused. Those worlds were not military targets. They were cultural sites, sacred places. Why destroy them? Webb looked at him through the prison barrier. You came to New Perth, Webb said quietly. You demanded we give up our home, our world, the place where our children played. You said surrender or die. You thought we would just accept that. He paused. Now you know what that feels like, Webb continued. Your garden worlds are gone. Your sacred places are poison. Your paradise is ash. And this is just the beginning. We will burn every garden in the galaxy before we kneel to you. Korvax stared at him. This young human, this soldier who had helped destroy worlds. You are monsters, Korvax said. Webb activated his suicide pill before they could stop him. He died in seconds. His last words were simple. You started this. Across the Galactic Council, other species watched in horror. The Thraxians formally withdrew from the war. The Zelnor recalled their ships. The Kraith closed their borders. One by one, council members decided they wanted no part of this conflict. The Velcrin Empire was alone, and the humans were coming. The Velcrin Emperor stood in his throne room. He was alone except for Admiral Korvax. Both looked exhausted. Both looked old. How many worlds have we lost? The Emperor asked quietly. All 7 garden worlds, Korvax said, plus 12 industrial colonies, 23 agricultural worlds, 31 mining operations. The humans destroyed everything they touched. The Emperor closed his eyes. And how many human worlds have we captured? None, Your Majesty. Every human colony we approach is destroyed before we arrive. We capture nothing but ruins. The Emperor opened his eyes. They were filled with rage. Then we will attack Earth itself, he said. We will end this war. We will make them surrender. Korvax felt cold fear. Your Majesty, I must advise against this. If we attack Earth, they will destroy it. They have proven they would rather die than surrender. I do not care, the Emperor shouted. Assemble the Grand Fleet. Every ship we have. We will destroy the human homeworld and end this nightmare. Korvax bowed his head. As you command, Your Majesty. 3 weeks later, the largest military fleet in galactic history assembled. 10,000 Velcrin warships. Every vessel the Empire could spare. It took days just to organize them into formation. Admiral Korvax stood on the bridge of the flagship. He looked at the display showing thousands of ships. It should have made him feel powerful. Instead, he felt afraid. On Earth, Admiral Sarah Okonkwo watched the Velcrin fleet approach. Every sensor tracked them. Every military base was on alert. Everyone knew what was coming. She stood in the war room deep beneath Geneva. Around her, officers monitored displays. Everyone was quiet. Everyone was scared. 10,000 ships, her second officer said quietly. We have 200 in the solar system. This is impossible. Okonkwo smiled grimly. Then we do not fight them fairly, she said. Execute Operation Mars Gambit. For 6 months, humanity had been preparing. While the Velcrin destroyed colonies, human engineers worked in secret. They worked on Mars. Mars, the first human colony outside Earth. Humanity had lived there for 200 years. Millions called it home. It was a symbol of human achievement. And now it would become a weapon. Engineers had drilled into Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system. They planted fusion charges deep in its core. They installed antimatter bombs in the Valles Marineris Canyon system. They placed devices at every tectonic weak point. Mars had been evacuated. Every person, every animal, every valuable item. The planet was empty except for automated defenses and one final surprise. The entire planet was a bomb. The Velcrin fleet entered the solar system. They passed Jupiter, then the asteroid belt. They approached Mars. Korvax frowned as his sensors showed human ships retreating. The entire human fleet was pulling back toward Earth. They were abandoning Mars without a fight. "Admiral, the humans are withdrawing," his tactical officer reported. "Pursue them," Korvax ordered. "Do not let them escape." The fleet changed course, following the human ships, moving closer to Mars. The red planet sat peacefully in space, silent, waiting. When the Velcrin fleet was in optimal position, clustered together, chasing the human ships, Admiral Okonkwo gave the order, "Detonate Mars." She opened a broadcast channel. Every species in the galaxy would hear this. Every council member, every civilization. "This is Admiral Sarah Okonkwo of the Human Defense Fleet," she said. Her voice was calm, cold, final. "You came to our solar system. You threatened our homeworld. You demanded we surrender. This is our answer." She pressed a button. Mars exploded, not like the colonies. Those had been destroyed with conventional explosives and nuclear weapons. This was different. The fusion charges in Olympus Mons triggered a chain reaction through the entire planet. Antimatter bombs created tears in space itself. The tectonic devices shattered the planetary crust. Mars split apart, fragments the size of mountains, chunks of rock and metal accelerating in every direction. The energy release was astronomical. Like a star dying in fast motion, the Velcrin fleet had no chance. They were too close, too clustered together. The debris hit them like a shotgun blast at point-blank range. Ships died by the hundreds in the first seconds. Massive chunks of planetary debris punched through hulls like paper. Smaller fragments created clouds of shrapnel that shredded everything. Admiral Korvax watched his fleet die. He saw ships explode. He saw them torn apart. He saw them crushed by mountain-sized rocks traveling at incredible speeds. His own ship was hit. The bridge lost pressure. Half his crew died instantly. Emergency systems kicked in, barely. Through failing displays, he saw the death toll. 98%, 9,800 ships destroyed. In less than 5 minutes, the 200 ships that survived were crippled, damaged, barely functioning. And now human ships emerged from behind Earth, fresh, undamaged, ready to finish the job. Moon-based weapons opened fire, missiles launched, energy beams cut through space. The survivors died quickly. Admiral Korvax's ship was among the last to fall. As his life support failed, as his ship broke apart, he heard Admiral Okonkwo's final broadcast. "We sacrificed one of our first colonies to destroy you," Okonkwo said. "Mars was our second home. We lived there for 200 years. We loved it, and we destroyed it to stop you." She paused. When she spoke again, her voice was hard as steel. "That is what we are willing to lose to win. Think about that. Ask yourselves what we would do to our enemies. Ask yourselves if you want to find out." Admiral Korvax died in the cold vacuum of space. His last thought was simple, clear. We should have listened. We should have stopped. We should have left them alone. Across the galaxy, every species watched in horror. The humans had destroyed an entire planet. Their own planet. Just to win a battle. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. The Velcrin Emperor was not present. He had locked himself in his chambers. He would not speak. Would not eat. He stared at images of Mars exploding and said nothing. The acting Velcrin representative stood before the council. "We surrender," she said simply. "We request immediate peace negotiations." No one argued. No one objected. They had seen enough. The neutral station floated in empty space. No weapons, no defenses, just a meeting place. Representatives from 47 species gathered in the main chamber. Ambassador Chen sat at the human table. Admiral Okonkwo sat beside her. Both women looked tired. The war had lasted 8 months. It felt like 8 years. Across from them, the Velcrin delegation sat in silence. No emperor. He had abdicated 3 days after Mars. His daughter ruled now. She was young, barely an adult by Velcrin standards. She looked scared. The mediator, a Thraxian diplomat named Vel, stood at the center of the chamber. "We are here to negotiate peace," Vel said. Her voice was soft but firm. "This war has cost both sides dearly. It is time to end it." The young Velcrin Empress stood. Her 4 hands shook slightly. "On behalf of the Velcrin Empire," she said, "I offer our unconditional surrender. We accept full responsibility for starting this war. We ask only for mercy." Chen stood slowly. We do not want your surrender, she said. We want recognition. Recognition of human territory. Recognition of human sovereignty. And assurance that this will never happen again. The Empress nodded quickly. Agreed. All human colonies are recognized as sovereign territory. The Council will grant humanity full membership status, and we will establish a new law. No species may initiate conflict with humanity without unanimous Council approval. One of the other Council members stood, a representative from the Zelnor species. With respect, he said carefully, we must understand what happened. We need to know why humans fight the way they do, so this never happens again. Admiral Okonkwo stood. She walked to the center of the chamber. I can explain, she said. Dr. Amara Ose is here. She is a xenopsychologist. She has studied both human and alien psychology for 30 years. She can help you understand. A small woman with dark skin and gray hair stepped forward. Dr. Ose looked at the assembled delegates. The fundamental misunderstanding, Dr. Ose began, is about the nature of war itself. For most species in the Council, war is an economic calculation. You fight until the cost exceeds the benefit. Then you surrender. You follow rules. You limit casualties. War is a game with winners and losers. She paused. Humans do not see war that way, she continued. For us, war is existential. We fight like our entire species will die if we lose, because in our history that was often true. The delegates looked confused. Dr. Ose pulled up a hologram. It showed Earth. Earth is a death world, she said. Everything on our planet tried to kill us, predators, disease, weather, other humans. We survived by being more ruthless than anything else. The hologram changed. It showed human history. Wars, conflicts, genocides. We have fought wars for thousands of years, Dr. Ose said. Wars where entire civilizations were destroyed. Where cities were burned. Where populations were killed. We learned that surrender could mean extinction. So we learned to never surrender. A council member interrupted. But surely you evolved past that. You reached space. You achieved peace among your own kind. Dr. Ose shook her head. We achieved peace through mutually assured destruction, she said. We created weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We pointed them at each other. We said if you attack me, we both die. And it worked. But the principle remained. If we cannot win, we make sure everyone loses. The chamber was silent. Species that had never experienced total war struggled to understand. When the Velcrin demanded our surrender, Dr. Ose continued, you triggered our survival instinct. You threatened our homes, our children, our future. You left us with two choices, surrender and lose everything, or fight with everything we had. She looked directly at the Velcrin Empress. You thought we would follow your rules, Dr. Ose said. You thought we would surrender at 15% casualties. You thought we would accept defeat gracefully. But we do not know how to accept defeat. We only know how to win or die trying. The Empress spoke quietly. We made a terrible mistake, she said. We judged you by our standards. We thought you were like us. We were wrong, Dr. Ose nodded. Yes, and that is the lesson. Humans do not fight wars to capture territory or gain resources. We fight wars to teach lessons. Our lesson was simple. Leave us alone, or we will make sure nobody wins. She sat down. The chamber remained silent for several minutes. Finally, Ambassador Chen stood. We did not want this war, she said. We tried to find peace. But when you forced us to fight, we fought the only way we know how. Completely. Totally. Without mercy. She looked around the chamber at all the species represented. We hope you have learned from this, Chen said. We hope you understand now. Humanity wants peace. We want to trade with you. Learn from you. Share the galaxy with you. But if you threaten us, if you attack our homes, we will burn everything to the ground before we surrender. The treaty was signed 3 hours later. Human territory was recognized and expanded. Humanity received a full voting seat on the Galactic Council. A new law was passed prohibiting unprovoked aggression against humanity. But the real change was not written in any treaty. It was in the eyes of the council members. It was in the way they looked at humans now. With fear, with respect, with the understanding that some species do not follow the rules. 20 years later, a young Velcrin student sat in a classroom. Her teacher, an old woman who had lived through the war, taught history. Teacher, the student asked, my grandfather was Admiral Korvax. He died in the war with humanity. Why did we fight them? What did we hope to gain? The old teacher looked at her student sadly. "We fought them because we did not understand them," she said. "We thought they were weak. We thought they would follow our rules. We thought war was a game we could win." She pulled up images from the war. Destroyed worlds. The explosion of Mars, the faces of soldiers on both sides. "But humans do not play games," the teacher continued. "They do not fight to win territory. They fight to teach lessons, and their lesson was brutal. They destroyed their own worlds rather than surrender them. They sacrificed Mars, one of their first colonies, just to destroy our fleet." The student looked confused, but why? Why not just surrender? Why choose mutual destruction? The teacher smiled sadly. "Because to humans there are things worse than death," she said. "Losing their freedom, losing their homes, losing their dignity. They would rather die free than live in chains. They would rather see everything burn than accept defeat." She paused. "That is the lesson your grandfather learned too late," the teacher said. "That is the lesson the galaxy learned. Never threaten humanity, because they will not surrender. They will not negotiate. They will not follow the rules. They will simply make sure everyone loses." The student was quiet for a moment. "Are humans still dangerous?" she asked. The teacher nodded. "Yes, but now we know that. Now we respect them. Now we leave them alone, and they are good neighbors as long as you do not threaten them." On Earth, workers continued the long project of rebuilding Mars. It would take centuries, but humans were patient. They had time. In her office in Geneva, now retired Admiral Okonkwo looked at images of Mars before and after. She thought about the cost of war. The price of victory they had won. They had taught the galaxy a lesson. But the victory tasted like ash. Ambassador Chen, also retired, sat beside her. Both old women now. Both tired from years of service. "Do you think it was worth it?" Chen asked quietly. Okonkwo was quiet for a long time. "We survived," she said finally. "We kept our freedom. We taught them to leave us alone." "Was it worth Mars? Worth the garden worlds? Worth all the destruction?" She looked at her friend. "I do not know," Okonkwo said. "But I know this. If we had to do it again, we would. Because that is who we are. We do not surrender. We do not accept defeat. We burn everything rather than lose." Chen nodded slowly. Outside, humanity continued to expand, building new colonies, making new friends, trading with other species, living in peace. But every species in the galaxy knew. Every council member remembered. Every child learned in school. Never threaten humanity. Because they do not fight wars to win. They fight wars to teach lessons, and their lesson is always the same. Leave us alone, or we will burn everything.